Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Veteran Talk. I'm your host, Matt. Thank you for stopping in. As always, Veteran Crisis Line, dial 988, select option 1 if you're a veteran in crisis. You can text to that number as well. You go to veterancrisisline.net on your computer, and there's a option to chat with somebody live, top right-hand corner, or reach out to any of those great nonprofits that are out there that help veterans get through their crises. I mean, they're there for a reason. All right. Always remember, we never go to war alone. You don't have to go through this alone. And don't believe the little voices in your head. You are needed. You are wanted. You are loved. Okay. I don't care what they're telling you. They're lying to you. All right. Perhaps one of these stories that we've got tonight might help in somewhat form or fashion. Hopefully some will make you laugh. Some will make you think. We'll see how it all plays out. I am joined, as always, by Two Wolf Designs. Good evening. And Panda has come back. I caught myself.
Ayo.
Ew.
And yeah, okay. So there has been some interesting things of late that have really lit the internet up. Okay. Oops, that's not what I wanted. There we go. On Sunday, I don't know what prompted it. It's not told in this story. But let's just go right ahead and jump into Marine infantry veteran says enlisted shouldn't become officers. Mayhem ensued, which honestly did happen. I can't fathom the level of hubris this individual has, okay? And you're going to get a kick out of who wrote this, okay? And there's more to the tweet, but that's kind of it in a nutshell, all right? This is a person who is listed as an Army veteran. They're saying Mustangs, which, as you can see below, Mustang is slang for a U.S. military officer who was enlisted that became a commissioned officer. Erode esteem, legitimacy, and distinct culture of the officer corps, like merchants marrying into the aristocracy. Now, some of you may have seen this on He's on YouTube. Angry Cops. All right. There's something he didn't tell you in the story because I watched it this morning, and let me tell you, he does a great job at the level of stupidity in this tweet. Breathing. This came from a Lance Corporal who's no longer in the military. I don't know what idiot or what command this idiot resided under, but the Marine Corps does a really good job at keeping those in that they want in. Okay? So either this individual either did not want to stay in or was not allowed to stay in. Okay? The Marine Corps is really good about that. They've been doing it forever. They will run you out if they don't like you. Whoops, sorry about that. Hit a button. See, technical difficulties. Gotta have them every fucking show. So, first off, he uses the word aristocracy as if it is a hierarchy in a kingdom. Okay? That's your quarter word for the day, aristocracy, because he thinks it's the 1200s. All right? I've known officers who went green to gold in the Army, is their program. I don't know exactly, it's basically E to O, I think, in the Marine Corps is enlisted to officer. I'm pretty sure every branch has their version of this, and there's a reason for it, okay? You get somebody in the officer corps that actually knows what is going on at these lower levels because they've been there and they've done that, okay? They already know that, when an order is given, how it's going to be executed, because they've been there to execute those same orders. Right? They know the actual capabilities of a unit as opposed to what's on paper. Things to think about. Oh, and don't forget, join us on Discord. Throw that out there. Now we'll pin it. There. Oh, that's why it never stays. Got it. Close that up. Okay, cool. So there's our Discord in the chat. So I would love to know the reality behind why this idiot even took the time to post something as insipid as this. I can make my assumptions. Remember, I was an Intel analyst. Okay? My job was to analyze things, read between the lines. Somebody got turned down for their fucking promotion. Okay? Now, officers, other enlisted, have totally blasted this moron. Okay? So they've either done it because, yes, they got dropped for a promotion or something like that, or they were trying to go, or they had the desire to go enlisted to officer and were shut down for whatever purpose, because of, history in the Marine Corps, because that plays a lot, whether or not they want you to stay. But they are well respected, these individuals, because of what they bring to the officer corps from the enlisted corps. Although there was, of course, one smartass who was a former A-10 pilot who said, "I'm prior enlisted and I enjoyed eroding the esteem, legitimacy, and distinct culture of the officer corps." There's always one joker in the group. Always.
In fact, that was his favorite part.
Yeah. So, I mean, what you spent a minute in the Marine Corps there, Panda. What is your opinion, or did you know any that there were Mustangs?
I knew a couple. Being air wing, it was a little more difficult for some of them, but just because, the physical requirements of aviation medical or aviation medicine.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it hasn't been done. It's just it's
a challenging.
There were far fewer. Let me put it that way.
Well,
I don't know. I'm still kind of like reading the whole article, so.
Oh, okay. Well,
but
I knew
my guess when we were talking about it was, okay, so maybe it's somebody with an axe to grind, because he had plans of using the program and never got there.
Mm-hmm.
If he's a grunt, very possible he was a terminal lance and got screwed over because of that. That's definitely a large gripe amongst a lot of former people.
Well, a lot of people don't understand is, when you're in the military, you don't just bounce ranks when the time comes. There has to be an opening. There has to be a slot available for you to get to above an E4. E1, E2 to E4 is a given based on time throughout all the services. Okay? There are things that can be done to promote you faster in those lower ranks. But once you hit E4, there has to be an E5 slot in your career field for you to be able to go into. Or you can't even get E5. We talked about this before. In a lot of cases, your combat arms MOSs will promote faster because of what they are versus somebody who sits in an office and looks at a computer screen. Okay? And I get it. I don't have anything against that happening. But, you've got to earn anything above that. And you use the term terminal and, Lance Corporal. There's reasons for that beyond not having a slot in some cases. They were E4 Mafia and they got caught, or the Lance Corporal Underground. I have heard on the wind. Nobody can prove it though. So, these things happen, and whether or not you know, no, I'm not buying your crap. This person, you know, is disgruntled in some form or fashion, which is very possible. Or they were just trying to light a fire thinking they were going to, you know, make it through this unscathed. Well, they did not. Okay. I have never heard anything negative personally from any officer that was prior enlisted. Okay. You know, they tend to be the more down to earth officers because, like I said, they've been there, they've done that. There are some that come out, and it's some of these just reek of service school personnel officers because, you know, their attitudes and what they've had to go through just to get into a damn service school. Look that up sometimes. I think you have to have 2 letters from senators or something like that. You got to have like straight A's when they come out of high school. There will always be a divide between your officers, warrants, and enlisted if you have warrants in your service. The warrants are ghosts. They do whatever they want to do when they want to do it. Give them the opportunity to fly, they're gone. Okay? Most of your helicopter pilots are warrant officers in the Army. There is just... I don't... Now, this is me, can't comprehend because, you know, I have a brain. The level of hubris to think that anybody is below me. Okay? Either we're in the foxhole taking fire, returning fire, or you don't need to be there. Pretty damn simple in my world. Okay? I've got to trust you. And it's not just trust that you're sitting in the back yelling, barking orders out. It's a matter that you are there doing what we're doing, you know, trying to get back up or whatever, trying to keep us all alive. That's what your fucking job is. And if you don't think for 1 second that the enlisted are worth it, you've got a problem. Okay? A few years ago, as it puts here, thank you, Navy, a lieutenant. So, 02, I believe, is lieutenant in the Navy. Because they have Lieutenant JG, junior grade is the 01.
No, it's ensign, lieutenant JG, lieutenant. So 01 through 3, respectively.
Oh, my apologies. I was misinformed. I just didn't remember. So it's an 03 Army, Air Force, and I think, yeah, the Marine Corps is the equivalent of a captain. Okay, so this is an 03. Was disciplined after complaining that he had to be billeted with enlisted soldiers somewhere, whom he described as deviants and perverts. Now, let me be clear, that's not far off. Okay? But he needed to shut his mouth.
Hey, that's what we love about our squids.
What do you think these guys talk about? They're on a boat by themselves with a bunch of other guys, a few females. There's not that many. And there have been problems with that, but I'm not delving into it. Okay? That they are really, really waiting to go to their next foreign port so they can, how shall I say, sample the local cuisine. Okay? This has been happening for fucking ever. Nobody ever talks about it because it never actually happens. This
Never mind
genius,
the amount of weeds that we have in the enlisted side.
Yeah, right. Now, apparently, Task and Purpose spoke to this individual. Last name was Snook. Okay. Rhymes with crook. I mean, that said he's known excellent Mustangs, but he still believes commissioning enlisted as officers hurts the military as a whole. How? Okay. He thinks that there needs to be a class system within the military, and nobody can go above, get into another level or another class to better themselves and better the Marine Corps, or the Army, or the Navy, the Air Force. All right, shut up and mind your lane. Okay, I think he's an idiot. All right, you're allowed to have your opinions. My opinion of you is you're a moron. All right, because there is a substantial benefit to having enlisted become officers. Yeah, and like I said, he was a Lance Corporal. So he's an idiot.
Well, the article does cite that he did make corporal by the end of his term, so.
Ooh, okay, so he made the E4 Mafia. Congratulations. All right.
Where my mind goes with the last name and how he was talking about it, it sounds like he comes from in certain areas where they have caste levels of your family is at this level, you can't go here type thing.
Yeah, but where the hell would that be?
Like that. India and stuff like that.
Well,
areas
yeah.
like that have a CHASTE, I think it's called.
No, just no caste. C-A-S-T-E, yes.
Okay. You know what I'm talking about. It almost
Yes.
sounds like that's what he wants out of the ranking.
Well, that's what he believes the rank should be.
Right.
That's like a lieutenant looking at a sergeant major going, I will outrank you. Good luck with that. That won't last much longer. Okay?
I mean, you're not wrong, but if you want any sort of advice or help or survivability, you might want to listen to the guy that's been in a hot minute.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't make sergeant major for nothing. Okay? So...
That's where the sergeant major tells him, make sure you shine that insignia real well so it can be well seen.
Exactly.
An accidental friendly fire.
Hey,
something.
it's attitudes like that, I'm not going to say it has ever happened or may happen. Fratricide does happen in war zones. The question is which directions did the bullets come from? And we had problems during the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan of individuals being arrested, trying to plan to fratricide, their CO or lieutenant because of how they were treated, or, they were being told to do stuff they didn't want to do. You still have to do it, like it or not. Bitch the whole time, but shut and fucking to execute. But yeah, I mean, that's the kind of thing that truly happens, sadly. So, off to the Navy. Navy stops.
To be fair,
Okay.
sorry,
Go
just
ahead.
to finish up on that. To be fair, he does at least comment, like, they reached out to him for comment. He did present an argument in support of his position. I'm not saying I agree with it, but at least I can kind of see the reasoning. And as one other commenter on that reasoning said, it's a bit of an antiquated view. And I'm like, yeah, I can see that. But, if you look towards the beginning of the 20th century and the view, especially the British view of officer enlisted, you can kind of see where he's going with that.
Yeah, and I mean, that's still the way it is in Britain. If you are in the military, depending on where you're born, will depend on how high of a rank you can go. I don't care what they say. If you are not, hey Irish, if you are not born in the right location, so to speak, you are discriminated against due to your heritage. And that still happens to this day, 2023, in the United Kingdom. Of course, nobody ever talks about it, but that's the truth. It's very sad. Some of these people are really good at what they do, but they are held back by purview of where they were born. Okay, so next story here. Half of this is misleading. U.S. Navy stops pirates off of Yemen. 2 missiles land near the destroyer. Okay, they're defining landing near was 10 nautical miles. Okay. I don't know that I would call that near. It's a little beyond close, per se. How about launched at and failed to make its appointed rounds with impact? So...
in the same region as the ship, maybe?
Yes, from Yemen. Okay. I didn't bring up the map from Google where Yemen is, and I don't want to get everybody all dizzy with the way that I do stuff. But the U.S. Navy received a distress call from a commercial tanker, traveling through the Red Sea, which is under attack. The USS Mason, an Arleigh Burke class guided missile destroyer, and several other ships from Task Force 151, focusing on anti-pirate or countering pirates or anti-piracy. Anti-piracy. Yeah, there we were. Responded. Now, the ship in question that was under attack, it was flying a flag from Liberia, which we're not at war with, so, hey, we're going to help. The ship had a multinational crew of 22 and was carrying phosphoric acid. Now, there are many things that you can use phosphoric acid for, but I don't know that you need an entire ship worth.
Yeah, that's a bit much.
So they rolled in. I say rolled. They floated in. Got on the horn and said, listen, give up or we're coming after you. Well, they gave up and ran. Hopped in their little boats and took off. Well, apparently it wasn't very difficult for us to catch them because we caught them and they're under arrest. It's after a brief pursuit. There were 5 of them. And this is the thing that is still going on. We're still having piracy. Okay? On the high seas. In the international waters. The question really becomes, did they know what was on board? Or did they just like, oh, look, ship, let's get. Nobody was injured. No deaths or anything like that. But, we're going to keep doing what we're doing. Until you learn that's not the right thing. Watch one of the last, Fat Electrician. Where'd you post that at? I think it was in general.
Probably.
Maybe you didn't. No,
I know I posted it somewhere.
You did. I just don't know where.
Memes, probably.
That's what I thought. I'm not seeing it. Oh, there it is.
Potential.
Yeah, I got it. The Fat Electrician on YouTube. America dismantles pirate nations for touching their boats.
Yes.
Love it. Now, this is not a recent issue. That story takes you back to what, the 1700s? 1800s. It was in the 1800s.
Early 1800s,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
We don't like pirates.
Yeesh.
Okay. Don't get me wrong. I respect a pirate, but you need to know when you're outclassed. So, again, there is no, the cruise missiles were launched at them and they didn't impact. They didn't even come close. So, yeah. Let's keep going with that outstanding weaponry, shall we?
Real smart there.
Yeah. Okay, meet the Army crew that named their tank Barbie Dreamhouse. And it's right there.
Oh, Jesus.
M1 Abrams, Third ID, has made a guest appearance in a Third ID tweet Monday asking which battle tank has the best name in the Army. And I'm pretty sure that one just about topped it. Okay.
I want that. Hey, Mommy and Daddy, what do you want for Christmas? Barbie Dream House.
Yeah. No, not that pink thing, the tank.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Now, the photos are from 2018, and the tank's crew are all on different assignments now, which means they've promoted or something, and they've moved on to a different, different units and things like that. Because, the Army doesn't like keeping people in one place for very long. Go away. So, let me see here now. At the time, the crew included Tank Commander, First Lieutenant, now Captain, Jillian Collins, Loader, PFC, now Corporal, John Duvernay. I'm going with that. Sorry if I hacked it. Gunner Sergeant, now Staff Sergeant, Devon Shannon, and driver PFC Sebastian Sims, who either is no longer in the military or is eternal PFC because they don't show an updated rank. You gotta love what they name some of these tanks. They really come up with some really good stuff at times. To put a smile on my face. So, and welcome, Minnie.
Much like call signs, not necessarily something that sounds badass, but more often than not, something embarrassing or hilarious.
Yeah. Okay, let's go back to the Marine Corps, shall we? Here in the great state of Texas. Over the weekend, 4 Marines in dress blues got into a kerfuffle with about 8 civilians at a bar.
In Texas.
Nobody
Had to be in Texas, man.
Nobody was seriously injured or harmed. Nobody went to the hospital, and nobody's facing charges. Okay?
Yeah, it's a good, honest bar fight. Good old-fashioned honest bar fight.
Exactly. And yes, I say 2 civilians to 1 Marine is about right. This Marines are still going to walk away on their own. The problem was they were caught in their dress blues. They should not. I don't know if they should have been in there or not. That's on them. But there's a video of it. I'm not going to show the video. But
I was going to say, did this happen on the birthday?
No, it was. Let's see.
Well, I want to see this video. I'm gonna have to find this one.
It happened Friday or Saturday of this last week. It occurred around 1:53 a.m. local time. It starts with a woman that's seen throwing one of the Marines' phones, and then a man in a white hooded shirt confronts one of the Marines, and pushing becomes shoving, shoving becomes fight, fists getting tossed. Apparently a Marine is shown throwing punches at a man who stumbles and falls to the ground. About 30 seconds into the brawl, the Texas Department of Public Safety and Austin Police quickly rush in to quell the issue. Again, that the person that was on that went to the ground got pinned and was handcuffed to calm them down. And according to the Austin Police Department, no individuals were arrested or cited. It's not saying that they weren't cited. So,
I mean, do I really need to repost Bad Electrician's video about drinking with the Marines?
Okay, I'm just gonna say one thing about this. Okay, so watched it. I love how the shortest Marines are up front and center until the first couple punches get thrown, and then the one tall dude steps up finally. Wow.
Listen, it doesn't. There's no.
Ooh, feisty short people.
With the exception of reach, there is no difference between that tall Marine and those short Marines. Okay, they are Marines. They don't take shit.
I love it.
Okay. It's like there's a meme floating around recently. It's like an airman and somebody training him is like right there. He's like, "Good shooting, airman." However, in a real combat situation, take your ammo and find the nearest Marine and give it to them. You know,
Yep.
it's kind of goes with the Army too. But like you know, I will give the Air Force shit forever because the Air Force does not do what we do. But we do what they do. We have the Army has planes, the Navy has planes, the Air Force has planes, you know, because the Air Force can't do everything. So, but the Air Force gets the big bucks because they have the most planes. But when it comes to the Marines, civilians, you do not want to test your luck with them. I know the liquid courage was flowing, but at some point you had to go through your brain. This might not be a good idea. Maybe the alcohol stopped it from registering. But ask the guy who was trying to steal shit from Best Buy. That story's been floating around for a while now. Okay? 4 Marines outside collecting for Toys for Tots. Great, great thing to do. And he tripped on the curb. Apparently, the hospital listed him with missing teeth, broken jaw, broken nose, several lacerations, road rash, and a couple of contusions, and possible concussion. I mean, that is the worst falling down story I have ever heard.
Wow.
And it actually happened.
Well done.
Okay? Just because somebody wanted to steal something from Best Buy and pulled a knife on a Marine. And he tripped on a curb. You can't make this stuff up, people. You can't make this stuff up. It doesn't work that way.
Tripped on the curb and fell into the concrete wall, maybe.
Let's just say his fall, his impact from the fall was bad enough he had to be taken to a hospital. Because he may or may not have attempted to stab a Marine and tripped in his arrogance and his hubris trying to, you know, evacuate the area. What was this one? This was nothing. Go away. All right, bad news. So for this year, sadly, the Space Force reports that they have had 2 suicides in their ranks. There is no information about it. There were no names released that I'm aware of. There's no locations or anything like that, but they were determined to be suicides. The Air Force, and of course now the Space Force, has done an outstanding job of trying to get people in to get help when they need it. Okay? The chaplains are always there. The medical professionals are always there. I mean, you can still call the suicide hotline. Okay? 988, select option 1. Or text them or anything like that. You have the ability to do that as active duty. Okay? Don't ever let it think that you're calling to get help or it is going to impact your career. It will not. A lot of people in the security and intelligence fields across all services spent years getting that changed so that will not affect your career for you going and seeking out help. Okay? Please do so. There's really no follow-on to that. It's sad that, you know, that this is happening now and it's gone into the Space Force, you know, because you never know what's happened in their personal lives or, you know, in their professional life that caused them to make these decisions. So let's hope that we don't see more of these. Okay. This has been happening for 2 decades at least, if not more. Laser pointer incidents spike. Airmen are now getting updated eyewear that provides better protection, to include some that include ballistics protection. Okay. The people that are doing this are idiot civilians and possibly other countries. Okay. I mean, these laser pointers, which as cool as they are, red, green, whatever, can instantly cause blindness, lack of depth perception. I mean, there's a whole slew of stuff that can go into it. I don't know if many can speak more on it or not. Again, we're not medical professionals. We're not claiming to be. But this has been going on for a very long time.
You can have a lot of, like...
A lot of what?
I mean, you're talking about, like, those lasers, let alone, like...
We're only getting part of your conversation.
The or the grade of laser that these people are using can have I just muted and unmuted.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, you're right, but these are
Unless
even the lower
feedback.
powered ones that are, you know, you can buy to play with your pets, you know, especially cats. They love them. They will never get the dot, but they'll try everything to get the dot.
But
laser pointers for actual like briefings and things like that.
when you're specifically pointing it at people, let alone someone's eyes, that, I mean,
Yes,
that's damage. You're damaging. Your eyes are some of your more sensitive
yeah. I mean,
structure,
if
organ,
it's
with
done
so
long
many
enough,
nerve endings, so...
But if it's done long enough, it'll cause blindness. It'll cause problems with the retinas, all sorts of different eye problems that cannot be repaired. So by doing so, you could be ending the career of somebody, and it's happened. I don't know how to stop stupid from happening, but it's going to continue to happen. But it is illegal in the United States to do that. That's a federal law.
Well, and then, you know, especially the green lasers, I mean, that shit has a warning. Because you know, just between the wavelength to create them just happens to be, and that's the reason why they're used for longer distances, because because of their wavelength, they're able to reach out that far.
Mm-hmm.
That said, the biggest downside is that's also why they cause so much damage. It just happens to be that right frequency or that right wavelength to fuck the eye or the optic nerve.
The upside is, in a lot of cases, they're able to get information back to the tower, and law enforcement can get brought out to hopefully find and detain the individuals for being stupid. There was a case years ago where lasers were being pointed at pilots, and the United States reached out. It was in Djibouti, I believe. And the United States reached out to China and asked them to investigate, and apparently it stopped. I'm not throwing any shade. That's just what was reported.
Yeah, and the funny thing is like, I saw, actually I saw like a clip the other day, a video that was talking about it, like how this flight crew from an American, you know, airline was trying to land in a big city, and there were these green laser pointers, several of them going off, and they were being like, one guy ended up recording it because he's like, you know, this is the best evidence that we can.
Yeah.
On his like phone, I think he had like a flight attendant behind him, because, you know, the attendants were trying to help the captains like block the
So they can focus on
the
landing.
beams coming in with like, a folder or, a food tray so they could focus on landing. And they ended up using like the footage to pinpoint exactly like GPS wise where they were.
Yep.
And they found these kids like literally, like there's about 5 of them with 5 green lasers that they had got from the parents just out and about,
thinking it'd be cool
in the middle of their neighborhood and streets, just
Yep.
thinking it'd be cool, yeah. And specifically pointing at like airlines because they would go like from one to the next, like wait for the sound of the plane to start coming in.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, Jesus, wow.
They don't comprehend the consequences. Oh, and if anybody looks, I don't know if you've seen him. He's right here. This is our new mascot, Hakuna Matata. I can't remember which one he is, but Pumbaa. We have back here. So
Like the meerkat or the warthog?
the warthog. It's Pumbaa.
Yeah.
Okay, and here's something that we've talked about before. We'll talk about it again because they're finally getting more around to it in Congress. The momentum is building for psychedelic therapies for troops and vets. Okay, so being able to allow these for active duty troops to help get through their PTSD. There has been a lot of solid evidence coming out of other countries because nobody is willing to do it here. Thank you, Storm. I appreciate it. So, 2 individuals in Congress who you would never think would ever team up on anything, Representative Ocasio-Cortez and Representative, pardon me. Lost his name. Dan Crenshaw, okay, have teamed up to push this through. This has already, they're wanting the DOD to really look into it because as of right now, there are a couple of different nonprofits that are out in the world that are sending people on months-long retreats, months, like 6 months long, down to Central America, excuse me, so they can be treated appropriately. And they're being treated in those locations with psilocybin mushrooms and MDMA, I think, was the other one. Now, the problem with a lot of these lawmakers, they voted it down heavily the last time it was brought up, solely by Ocasio-Cortez, 93 to 200 and something. Let me see here. 91 to 331 against. Those lawmakers that voted against in most cases were inundated by people asking them why they would refuse to even look into whether or not this would help. Okay? We know it helps. It's not anecdotal evidence. This is real world evidence that psychedelics, when used properly, okay, and short term, can help with PTSD symptoms. Okay? It may not alleviate everything, but it does a lot. I mean, the amount of benefit that has been shown is beyond reproach as far as I'm concerned. So hopefully that this will get pushed farther through Congress this time and actually make it to the point where it can be officially studied. But what I think a lot of people don't comprehend is the fact that it's not something they're going to be on for the rest of their lives, okay? It is literally just a treatment, a short-term treatment to correct, or not correct, but rewrite the mental pathways of our service members and veterans so they can function. Okay? A lot of people don't understand that. They think, oh, they're going to be on this the rest of their lives. Well, I'm not going to throw any shade against Big Pharma, but we all know Big Pharma is in for profit. Okay? Right now, I take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different medications for my mental health. Multiple times a day. Okay? I'm putting it out there for everybody. Okay? I have anxiety and depression, and around the month of September, I have PTSD. Okay? Even my friends don't reach out to me because I don't want to. I get very short. I get very matter of fact, and I don't want to put the negativity onto them or have them have to go through the negativity with me. Right, wrong, or indifferent, that's what I've done in the past. Luckily for me, I have people here that live with me who care about me and will look at me and go, "You're being stupid." Oh, okay. Take it for what it's worth, right? And I love them for doing that. But they have times where they're low too, and I make sure I ask them about it. Okay? So, yeah. For some people, it is fun. For others, it's just irritating to no end. So, here we go again, hoping that the lawmakers in this country will get off their fourth point of contacts and do the right thing that will benefit not just the military, okay? This will benefit the civilian sector as well, because it has the ability to help in a tremendous way to make sure these people aren't on tons of medications, fistfuls of medications daily, so that they can just function, that they can get out of bed and take a shower and eat. Okay? There's days I don't even want to do that, but I do it anyways. But yeah, this is hopefully something that's gonna. Again, we don't do politics here at all, but I can say that it would not hurt for anybody who has an opinion on this matter to email or call their senators, congresspersons, and request whichever way they want to go with the law on this. Okay? Again, I can't tell you what to do. I'm not going to suggest it, but it wouldn't hurt if you want something like this to truly happen. They need to know.
Especially, as you mentioned and highlighted, like, I honestly think it would benefit even the VA itself to push towards those people that have like a stigma as to why they're not like seeking mental health, because they, the idea of, hey, the doctors are just gonna push pills on me and do the basic and then just ignore and make me me just suck an egg basically and deal with it.
Just the sight of a vegetable.
And a lot of people don't want to be related to that with pills and having to take those for the rest of their life and not necessarily be coherent, in the right state of mind.
Or any of the side effects that go along with it.
Yeah, there's that.
So, there's that.
Yeah, so
and there's a lot of them. Like, a lot of veterans don't like coming to a doctor as is, but mental health has been a big thing lately, and, you have to remember, not everybody wants to take a pill, let alone be there, but the main reason they're taking a step forward to mental health is they realize something is wrong.
Yes.
And sadly, it's not till it gets to that point when veterans reach out.
Guilty as charged.
Or their friends or support do. Yeah, same. So I think this will help encourage people, be like, hey, we are looking into other avenues. Hey, we are looking and exploring into this. We are here to listen and help. I mean, that's why the VA ended in different programs with regards to well-being as a whole. Everything from yoga to, Tai Chi to, like...
I mean, you can get acupuncture through the
a
VA
bunch of,
now.
Just light exercise. Yeah. Yeah. Massages, acupuncture, like... They send people on retreats.
Yeah.
Even, like... It's... Through the VA, there's some programs that especially combined with some institutes for, like, a veteran weekend or a veteran retreat.
Right.
And I mean, yeah, it's not well heard of or advertised because, once again, you have to kind of be in the right networks, sadly, in the right states and locations to be able to take part in them.
Right.
So the more the VA does in this regard, I think it's heading in the right direction. Bottom line.
I concur.
Yes.
Wholeheartedly
Definitely.
concur. So, we've discussed this previously. We'll continue to follow on these. I'm not a big drug person. I hate taking this medication. If I could find something that I could spend,
Yep.
a few months of my life helping to rewrite what's going on in my brain, I would take that opportunity. All right, but there are those this is me now. There are those that are in much worse situations than I am in, and I want them to go first. Okay? I want them to get that help because they're in a more dire need. You want proof? They keep taking their damn lives every fucking day. These people need the help. This is what can help.
And a lot of people... Yeah. And it's like Panda said, like, and hinted at with regards to side effects and these medications, like, people do not understand. Like, it's not necessarily a choice, but it's something we take for survival to keep us going. And yet, once we start on them, we can't just stop. Like, there's that in and of itself is a process.
Yeah. You have to be, a lot of them, you have to be weaned off of it.
Yep.
Because it can cause actual damage.
Yeah.
It's like
And-
detoxing, but sometimes worse. Depending on the medication.
Yep. Go ahead, Panda.
And I don't really have a big, I don't really have a soft spot in my heart for big pharma. But that being said, I do see this kind of going the same track as, medicinal marijuana. It's going to take a while, but it probably will eventually get there, just because the health benefits can't really be denied.
Well, keep in mind that marijuana as a whole is still illegal in the United States from a federal level. Okay?
Yep.
But we have more than enough states at this point to tell the feds, you need to change this shit up from a medicinal standpoint.
Especially when they've...
Right.
Especially when majority of the states have decriminalized it.
Uh-huh.
Which
Yeah.
would mean moving it to
Exactly,
a different
Panda.
schedule, because for anybody that's not familiar with the drug schedule that we have here in the U.S.,
Yeah.
schedule, taking it off the Schedule 1 drugs and putting it on like Schedule 2 or 3, whichever one actually has the medicinal use qualification.
Well, and this is another thing I'm going to talk about is the amount of money that could be made from taxing it. And I don't mean taxing it stupidly, like they do cigarettes, perfectly legal, item, but, you buy a carton, it's $10 in taxes just from the feds to allegedly take care of lung cancer. which nobody has effectively proved is directly related to smoking cigarettes. There's anecdotal evidence, but, you know, coal miners used to get lung cancer. They had black lung in most cases. There are people who've never smoked or been around cigarette smoke their entire life have lung cancer. Some of it's just genetic. Let's be clear. Why, you know, off my horse.
Well, I mean,
My soapbox.
you know, not unlike alcohol either.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
we'll punish you if you do something stupid, you know, drink and drive. But again, we're taxing that because we learned a long time ago prohibition didn't work. Thank you, Puritans.
It just, I mean, Big Pharma just blows my mind at this point, especially with regards to, you know, even alongside the tobacco industry to everything else. And
I mean, don't get me
I
wrong.
only say that because, I mean, when it comes to like tobacco, let's be real. The actual tobacco plant has been used for decades, like
Centuries.
the dawn of time, pretty much.
Yeah. Native Americans
And yet,
cultivated it. You know?
what happened? Tobacco alongside people in the medical
Mm-hmm.
money-making world
Yeah.
decided to make it something addicting. And
Yep.
there's facts behind that.
Well, I'm not arguing that either. I know I'm addicted, and I freely admit it. But again, why am I paying for something that hasn't happened? And I have health insurance for a reason. And since Obamacare went through, everybody should have health insurance, so it should negate the need for that tax to be there any longer, in my opinion. So we are going to continue to play this game with the powers that be who want to legislate morality and other things that fails every single time. Every time. Not once has it succeeded. All right.
Well,
Okay.
and then Big Lumber, you know, Big Lumber actually had a part to play in the banning of, well, getting marijuana as a Schedule 1 drug too, because they couldn't compete with the hemp industry.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, but that got rewritten happily. That hemp is now identified as a non, THC form.
Yeah, it's even a
plant.
crop.
Okay.
So we can thank the egg industry for that one.
Yeah.
A lot of farmers and ranchers, especially up north, trying to find crops to, live off of that can take the brutal conditions up there and yet
yeah.
something that they can use in between bigger crops.
Yes.
Because, some little insight to farming. When they take one crop, they have to basically downturn that field. And sometimes they have to wait before they can, amply plant another crop.
Right.
And so that's why farmers have several acres and several different crops in rotation. But hemp has been proven time and time again to be a very versatile crop that they can plant over and over and not have to wait because of how hardy and sustainable it is. It's pretty cool.
Well, it's not only that. Farmers have to rotate crops in their fields so that whatever is taken from the soil from one crop is replaced by the crop that comes after it, or so on and so forth, so that they don't have to constantly be out there with fertilizer fertilizing everything. Farmers just want to water it and let it go, just trying to be as hands off as possible. I get it. All right, I have no arguments with this whatsoever. My grandfather was a farmer. All right, but there are times where that's needed. But he would always, he had his rotation because he was big into the wheat industry from what he did. So in the times that he wasn't planting wheat, he had other crops that he would deal with. That once they would sow whatever it was, and they went back and they plowed the remaining portion, the root structure and everything back into the soil, would prepare the soil for the what the wheat required to grow. So, I mean, there's a lot of science and stuff that goes on in growing food. You know, people don't realize it. It's like, oh, you just plant it, it grows. You didn't know. No, these farmers, lots of math, you know, lots of research. Luckily, the majority of it's been done for them, so they can just jump in and go, okay, well, I want to grow this primarily. What do I grow after that to help promote growth for this again? You know, things like that. And hemp is one of those things that's kind of a generic, if you will. It's like O-negative blood. All right. Once it's done and the remnants are plowed under, it enriches the soil. So, or for almost every crop that can be planted after that. I know more than I look like I know.
Yep.
Because I looked into some of this shit at one point. So.
I gotta love our ancestors and Native Americans and indigenous people for all that they helped with and brought.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
In terms of knowledge like that.
Well, luckily, some of the white folk actually listened. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't trace my roots back to any stupidity about all that, but I have the utmost respect for Native Americans. And yes, they were treated like shit and still are to this day. And if you don't believe me, what was the name of that show? Yellowstone? Go watch that. You'll find out.
Yep.
Okay. Now, we're going to hop off. We're not hop off yet. We're going to jump over to the VA housing. Okay. Talk a couple things it's very short on this. It's not going to be a lot. A lot of people want to use their VA loan benefit. Okay. Personally, I don't think now's the time, but that's your business. Any of the mortgage brokers that are out there can pull your forms. You don't even need to get them. All right. They just going to need your name, social, that kind of shit. So they can pull it from the VA directly. They have a direct line with the VA. Now, a lot of people don't comprehend when they say they are no money down loans. That is correct. There is no money needed as a down payment on the home that you're wanting to purchase. However, there are closing costs and things of that nature. Hey, Blue, that are needed. You have to pay for when you close on the home, and those can be anywhere from, depending on the cost of the home and where you live and other things, upwards of, $10,000 to $12,000, $10,000 to $15,000 in some cases. It depends on the cost of the house, where you're at, taxes, things, yada yada yada. So no, you don't need to put any money down, but you're still going to need money to close on the house. Some of those can be put onto the seller, or not put onto, but you can, come on, brain, what word? You can discuss it with them and have them cover it.
Negotiate.
Negotiate. Thank you.
Negotiate.
You can negotiate and have the seller pay some of those costs to lower what's coming out of pocket. Okay. It's usually what they're willing to do it because it all just comes out in the transaction. So it's not like they have to come up with the money. It's just, a couple grand that they're not going to see in their bank account when it all comes out in the wash. So, things like that are not realized. And if you go over the VA housing stuff, they don't really tell you. It's all this just great thing that no money down. Well, that's a nice thing because you're not having to put down $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 for a home. Excuse me, but you do have to pay those fees for closing. Okay. Keep that in mind. Now, if anybody knows veterans who are homeless or are going to become homeless, the VA can help in some cases. All right. Now, we talked about it briefly last week that the VA has stopped the foreclosures on those homes that ended up with a balloon payment, so to speak, and the the veterans can't cover it because they weren't expecting it. All right. It was supposed to be a deferment versus a delay payments. Okay. So things like that have really come up. But the homeless veterans, you can get help. You go to find your local VA. There are a lot of faith-based programs where you believe in the faith or not. They'll still help you. They will care for if you're ill or you're seriously injured. The VA will take care of you. Go to the ER. You can reach out. That they will do all this stuff. It's really, really good that they're finally getting around to doing this. So keep in mind, you can all, they have the National Call Center for Homeless Veterans right here. It's probably in the regular line, 800-827-1000. Or let's see what we got. A National Call Center. Okay, National Call Center for Homeless Veterans, 877-424-3838. So if you've got somebody that's homeless that you know of, family members, everybody can help, reach out on behalf or have them do it, to try and get them where they need to be so that they can get the help they need. All right. As best possible. And with that, we're going to bring the show to a close. Would anybody have any closing statements? Silence says no. Okay, everybody. Remember, see, we got Pumbaa right here over my shoulder. He's right there. Please take the time to reach out if you're a veteran in crisis. All right. 988, select option number 1. Text to that number from your phone. Go on your computer, veterancrisisline.net. Top right-hand corner is a link. You can chat with somebody live. The amount of people that are doing it has increased, which is great. It makes it a lot easier to remember that number. All right. Don't believe the voices in your head. All right. You are loved. You are needed. You are wanted. Okay. Take the time to reach out. We don't go into a battle alone. All right. We've got our teams. We've got our company, our squads. We never go solo. All right. We are not an army of one. None of that fucking bullshit. Get out there. Get the help. It's nothing against you. If you're active duty, it can't be held against you. And if it is, go to JAG, go to EEO, go to the chaplains. All right. Make it so that, you get what you need. And they're supposed to do that. We know there's people that have issues with it, but we're not going to delve into that now. Again, throw up here again, the National Call Center for veteran homelessness, 877-424-3838. And with that, everybody, please have a good week. We'll see you Saturday night, 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern. That's all I've got for you. So please take care of yourselves. Take care of everybody around.